welcome to Does My Bank Still Love Me? I'm Jackie Benster, and I'm talking with our resident expert, Leeron Liftik.
Hello.
How you doing?
Wonderful.
Good. It's a nice sunny day today, unlike
That's right.
a terrible day on Tuesday when I actually went out and took part in a demonstration. And I wanted to tell you about this and clue in our viewers about it at the top, and then we have a bunch of other different things to talk about as well.
Great.
So this was a demonstration that was promoted by Washington Community Area Network, and it took place in Burien at Chase Bank, and then we went over to Bank of America. About 20 hardy souls came out on a horrible, miserable, blustery, rainy, nasty day. You get the picture. And we're protesting the foreclosure situation and the fact that, you know, a lot of what we were talking about last week, how a lot of the notes are just simply not where they're supposed to be.
Right.
And this organization, it was a very peaceful demonstration. You know, not a lot happened. We just went in, you know, people made an announcement. They had 3 demands, and the demands were interesting, I thought also. The demands were that, if I can remember them now, they wanted the principal to be written down on loans that were underwater because they said, you know, predatory practices and it was only fair. Okay. They wanted to be able to see the note. And then the third one, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. The third one was, I'm just drawing a blank on that one. Anyway, so this company has, or this Community Action Network has a website called www.where'sthenote.com/WACAN, W-A-C-A-N. And if you go there, you can put in your information and it will generate a fax or a letter. The fax will be faxed, and a letter will be, you know, you can print it out at home and then you can mail it to your bank, and it will demand to see the note. So I thought that was a really good thing, and I wanted our viewers to know that at least there's something happening out there, and, you know, they might want to go and do a Google search and look for some kind of community activism. So there's more to talk about that, but we left a few things dangling last week.
Yes.
So I wanted to talk to you about solutions.
Okay.
These are people are trying to find a solution, and you're trying to find a solution. So last week, or one of the prior weeks, you indicated that you had a master plan that you thought might help this situation. I want to hear about your master plan. Sure.
So this was an idea, just kind of observing all of the different people with whom we work with and seeing what all their various problems are and what all their various needs are. And essentially you have this circumstance where you have a huge number of people who are in one of 2 camps. Either A, they need a new place to live, or they need a place that's more affordable to live, or B, they own multiple places, like investors, and those investments are no longer performing. So for a variety of reasons, either the rents are not equating to the mortgages, or that hasn't changed, but the equity has depreciated so dramatically that they're bringing into question, why would I continue to bridge the gap between a mortgage payment and a rental payment on a property that's $50,000 underwater? So you essentially have these 2 circumstances which are leading to foreclosure, leading to short sales, leading to people walking away from their properties. And so it was on the way to Semi Valley, California, where we met with the Senior Vice President for Bank of America, that I just kind of had an idea of how all of this could work together. And what it looks like would be something along the lines of taking all the investors with whom there's a lot of investors who are in that situation I just described and are looking for a solution from their lender. And really, what they're doing in many, many cases is strategically defaulting, in other words, purposefully withholding mortgage payments in order to get a modification so that the rent and the mortgage payment cash flow or equate at very least, or they're just walking away from the property. So if there was a way to kind of say, hey, look, you're an investor, you have multiple properties with us. If you agree to keep the property, if you agree to pay the property taxes, pay the insurance, be the landlord, get a tenant in there, etc., what we'll do is we'll offer you a loan modification that equates to a rent that works for us. In other words, to a payment that works for us. So in other words, the proposition that I suggest the bank offers is, if you keep the property and do those things I just mentioned, we will make sure that there's a renter in there, and what the amount that they're paying for rent equals the mortgage payment that we assign to the property. And I'd say that most investors would say, yeah, that's a pretty good deal. You're going to find me a tenant who's going to pay, and whatever it is that they're going to pay, you're going to work within the mortgage to take that, right? So essentially, that's what is the benefit to the investor. Benefit to the bank is they get to keep the person who values the property the most, the homeowner, agreeing to keep the property in spite of the fact that it's probably upside down in value to some extent. And then they also offer the control of saying, we really get to decide what interest rate or what payment we assign to this loan mortgage note, this debt, essentially. We get the control over that, and we're tasked with getting a homeowner who will pay that, right? That's our task. So then the bank basically is also faced with a huge number of people who are of the contingent. There's some people who can just get modifications and can genuinely bounce back. But really, there's not a lot. There's very few people who didn't over-leverage themselves, who didn't borrow more than they can really afford, who didn't get a loan, who are not banking on the fact that an interest-only loan or an incredibly low interest rate loan will be what kind of bails them out in some of these more exotic loan packages of yesteryear. So there's a large contingency of people who just need to face the reality that it's all over, right? And the only benefit to keeping the property is really a lot of pride, a lot of, well, I've already been here for 4 or 5 years, and it's kind of like, yeah, but you're at zero. And what you're doing is kind of agreeing to pay $2,400, $2,500 when really you should be paying $1,600, $1,700 because of this. I've been here. It's my home. I'm a homeowner, et cetera. So that's kind of the other piece that Bank of America is tasked with. So to kind of just review what the first part of the plan is offering investors.
Now, by investors, you're talking about the homeowner?
No, people who own properties who own rental properties.
Oh, okay.
Who own properties
all
that
right.
they don't live in.
Okay, all right.
Okay. You offer them, if they're willing to pay the property taxes, the insurance, maintain landlord, et cetera, keep the property up, the maintenance, they'll provide them with a tenant, right? And then the second thing that they're tasked with is the piece about what do they do with those people who are really just over-leveraged.
And who have to move out so a renter can move in.
Or who have to move out because they can't afford the mortgage.
Right, okay, all right, okay.
So we'll come back to that after the break.
All right.
The wrong time, wrong place at the right time. Sometimes it's your very best time, but that can also be your last time. Friends making sure you're alright, it seems like that's the best kind. Roadblocks stop with red eyes, and now I'm walking on a fine line. Chopping wood for these cold nights, and writing down my mind by candlelight. These times can be hard to come